Prime Minister Scott Morrison has slapped down a New South Wales minister for suggesting federal Liberals want the government to take tougher action on climate change. Let's go live to political reporter Eliza Edwards. Eliza, at the moment things are a little bit fractious between the federal and state coalition governments when it comes to New South Wales.
Yeah, exactly right. A little bit more tension here between the federal and New South Wales governments over the bushfire response when it comes to climate change. The New South Wales Environment Minister has weighed in, suggesting that the Prime Minister is under internal pressure, including from members of his own cabinet, to strengthen the government's climate policies.
My understanding is some of the most senior members of the government, and they're not moderates, they're from the right of the party.
In Cabinet?
And they are saying that this is a huge issue.
In Cabinet?
In Cabinet, absolutely. And can I just say, Sherry, I mean, this is because their communities are crying out. They're listening to the majority of people in their electorates that are saying, we want you to protect our environment, but we don't want you to do it in a way that's going to destroy our economy.
Tom, after those comments, the Prime Minister used a series of media appearances this morning to slap down Matt Kean, saying that his government is on a unity ticket when it comes to the climate action that is being taken, and suggesting that the State Minister should stick to his day job.
I don't know what he's talking about.
So he's... Are you dismissing what he's saying?
Well, I don't know what he's talking about. I think Matt should focus on hazard reduction, and I think Matt can focus on hazard reduction. I'll focus on emissions reduction.
Matt Kean doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know what's going on in the federal cabinet. Most of the federal cabinet wouldn't even know who Matt Kean was.
Another thing that Matt Kean brought up in his Sky News interview is that Liberal MPs want the community to know that there are voices opposing people like Craig Kelly, who used a UK television appearance earlier this month to deny the link between climate change and bushfires. And he's gone on 2GB this morning to say he's since been instructed not to do any more overseas interviews.
There was a comment there to try and stay away from the international press, because I did that interview with Piers Morgan and a couple of other so-called journalists there. That was handled very unprofessionally on their part. When you are spoken over, when you're not given a chance to put the facts forward and cut off in the way they were, these people are overseas. They have no idea what's going on here in Australia. They have no idea the history of Australian bushfire, and they were just trying to beat up and use our bushfires for a political point.
There you go, Craig Kelly still speaking out, at least domestically. Meanwhile, Eliza, another announcement today from the government on bushfire relief. This is for small businesses, and a fair bit of cash will be handed out.
Yeah, Tom, it is a significant announcement, sort of overshadowed today by Matt Kean's comments and the Prime Minister's response, but it is good news for small businesses. Those physically affected by fires will be able to apply for government grants of up to $50,000, also concessional loans of up to $500,000 for those not only physically affected but indirectly with a financial hit to their business. There'll also be $3.5 million for a bushfire support hotline with financial counsellors on the other end, and a delayed tax returns for businesses putting in their tax returns for this year. The Small Business Minister, Michaelia Cash, says that the amount of money handed to fire-affected businesses will depend on how much they're insured for.
If insurance is, say, $30,000 worth and you've applied for $40,000, that $30,000 would be deducted from the grant, and we would provide the top-up of, say, the $10,000. So you do need to show, A, that you're a small business, so 20 or less full-time employees. You do need to show that you're in one of the disaster-declared areas, which would be obvious, and then you do need to show that you have sustained damage as a result of the fire.
Now, having looked at the government website, I've yet to see any guidelines, any parameters, any detail, any forms to fill out for small businesses to make application for either grants or loans. That has to happen immediately. It is already delayed, and therefore it has to happen immediately.
So Labor indicating they'll be watching closely for the speed of the rollout of this financial help. And Tom, there's no dollar figure on this business support package, but it's understood close to 200,000 businesses in severely affected bushfire areas will benefit.